While we're going down memory road here, I thought it would be cool to close out with maybe a memory that you have with Scott Hall. I mean, somebody you got to obviously spend so much time with.
Oh gosh.
I'm sure you have millions of stories, but yeah, maybe just talk about Scott Hall for a little bit.
Well, coming in because I had Dusty. When Dusty brought me in as the manager, I'd worked for him in Florida Championship Wrestling. And then when he brought me into WCW, he just didn't bring me in as a manager and a color commentator. He put me in the office. So I'm there, and I never knew the heat I was getting from it. But
Your
you know, this,
office.
uh, you know, I'm in the office, but from the people in the office, because he would ask me questions. What do you think, D? He would, D, what do you think about this? And I give my answers.
Yeah.
So I really kind of felt like I knew a lot, because of being in that spot. And then Scott Hall had called me, and I'm managing the Freebirds, and he says, "Hey, Dally." He's always calling me Dally because we worked together in Florida Championship Wrestling. And
Mhm.
he said, "You remember that Diamond Stud idea?" I said, "Yeah, of course I do." It was an idea I had for, you know, a tag team. And he said, you wouldn't look like Andre the Giant with those tiny little free birds if you were standing next to 6'6", 295 pounds, a twisted steel and sex appeal.
Yeah.
And I went, wow, you're right. Let me call Magnum. So I call Magnum up. Magnum TA is Dusty's right hand man at the time. And he goes, I always liked Scott. He goes, let me run it up the flagpole. Let me ask Dusty. Well, he came back, called me back. He said, nah, they're not gonna look at him. And I go, but why? Man, he's 295. He looks great. He's a handsome son of a bitch. He goes, he's been here twice, D. And what he had told Scott had told me before this was New York wouldn't return his phone calls, and neither would Atlanta.
Yeah.
And that's why he was coming to me. So I said to him, when he said, we've already seen it twice, and he didn't get over, I said, what if I could change his look? And he said, what do you mean? I said, what if he didn't look like Scott Hall? And he goes, wait, I'll tell you what, we're not flying him up. If he'll drive, I go, he'll drive. He goes, I'll get you the tryout. So I call Scott up and I tell him that they don't want him. And man, his wife's pregnant with Cody at the time.
Oh
He
my
he's thinking
gosh.
about going to work for Home Depot, right?
Uh-huh.
And he says, I said to him, I said, how about this? I said to Magnum, if I could change your look, nobody's got jet black hair. If you go back to the late 80s, 90s, everybody had blonde hair. Everybody had, dirty blonde hair. They had blonde hair, everybody.
Yeah.
Backlund had red hair. After that, everyone had blonde hair, except for Honky Tonk Man.
Right.
I said, what if you dyed your hair like that blue black Elvis color? He said, all right. He goes, I'll do it. Okay. So I said, be here tomorrow morning because I want to make sure we got things together because I got some clothes. I've got this idea for, what I want you to look like. So he shows up at my house. Oh, wait a minute. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm watching MTV because I'm a nightclub guy. I'm still not used to, going going to bed at 11 or 12. I still don't tonight. I don't get to bed till 12 or 1. And I said, I called him at 2 in the morning. He's like, Dally, what are you doing? My wife's sleeping. Hold on. So he gets out of the bedroom. He goes, what? I go, I'm watching George Michael right now and MTV. He's got this 5 o'clock shadow. It looks unbelievable. You gotta shave that walrus mustache. And And he says, Dally, I've had this mustache since I was 15. I
Of
said, just
course, of course.
I said, just another reason why you need to shave it, you
Yeah.
know? So he shows up at my house with that 5 o'clock shadow that he got around 2 o'clock. That it completely changed his face. He was so handsome,
Yeah, yeah.
but he dyed his hair with it was like that wash-in dye,
Oh,
so
just
like
bleeding
mousy
everywhere?
brown. No, it's like
Oh,
mousy brown,
okay.
I go, the hair's not making it, but the mustache looks awesome. So I took him to the girl back then who used to do my highlights for me. And when I looked at him, boy, I put him in these Cavaricci pants. I put him in this long coat that was a camel hair coat, hot as hell, but it looked really cool.
Yeah.
Black sunglasses, and he brought his own loafers. And when we rolled into where we used to film, where when we rolled into center stage, no one knew him.
That's
Not
awesome.
and but you got to think about that. Say
Mhm.
you just you know what you look like, you know who you are. If you did your red, you did your hair red, you know, and you just got a tattoo or something,
Sure.
and no one knew you, you'd be like, Becky, it's me.
Yeah.
Whoever it is,
Yeah.
it's me. Oh my
Yeah.
God. It's that thing,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
it freaked him out. But Dusty loved it. And so now we're doing our first interview. And this is the most classic thing of all time. And this is God's work. We're leaving Waffle House. And Waffle House, they've got toothpicks there. They're one of the few places that got toothpicks. And I grab two toothpicks, I give him one, I put it in my mouth. I'm like, oh my God, bro, I got this great idea. We'll both have toothpicks. And right at the end, we flick them at the camera. And after the match, I give him the toothpick. We're being interviewed in the middle of the stage, in the middle of the ring. I've got mine in my mouth. And while I'm talking, mine falls out of my mouth. And he does the bump, bump, bump to the camera. Bad guy was born.